In this era of grave spiritual crisis, it is not enough to simply know about your Catholic faith. That is why we need a Catholic Toolbox to equip us with the practical skills necessary to live our Catholic faith to reach our ultimate goal, which is heaven for all eternity. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. for the Catholic Toolbox as we hand you the tools to go forth, live the faith, and change our modern world today. Live on the Voice of Charity.
And welcome back to another week on the Catholic Toolbox, the art of practical Catholicism. I'm your host and founder, George Manassa, here as we equip you with practical tools to live your faith in our modern world of today. And this week, we wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day as I welcome my good friend, Jordan Grantham. Welcome to the show, or welcome back to the show, should I say.
Well said, George. No, thank you so much. It's a great privilege to be here with you.
You've
George,
never actually been in studio.
This is my first time live in the Voice of Charity studio here in beautiful Mount Druitt in Western Sydney. And amazing to just be part of all the mission and the great work that you do here, George.
It's great to have you, and a happy St. Patrick's Day to you.
Yes, very happy feast day.
Yeah.
It's a feast that's very close to my heart. Just earlier today, or just to quickly introduce myself,
Start by telling our listeners who may not have heard of you or have listened to your previous episode here on the show.
It was a little while ago that we spoke about Pope Benedict XVI, well over 12 months ago, almost 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
And so it's great to be a returning guest, and I guess the most important part about my background is I'm a Catholic communications professional, communications and marketing, and have done that for many Catholic religious organisations, charities, movements. It's been very meaningful, very rewarding work. And tonight I'm speaking mostly in my capacity as a member of the great St. Vincent de Paul Society, which, for over 200 years has helped millions of people around the world who are facing poverty, and doing that in the spirit of our beautiful Catholic faith.
And it's such an interesting history of the St. Vincent de Paul Society. You'll be speaking about that a little bit later, more in detail, but a little bit about St. Patrick himself. It's very sentimental to me as well, having been baptised at St. Patrick's Cathedral, Parramatta.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in the year 1995.
Wow, in the old cathedral?
The old cathedral, the year before it burnt down in 1996. And so I love going through my baptismal photos, and you see the old cathedral, you see it before, and yeah, it's a very sentimental place, and it was obviously restored and is the cathedral today, and yeah, it's a very sentimental thing. I've had a great connection to St. Patrick.
As have so many hundreds of thousands of Australian Catholics.
Irish Australians especially.
Yeah. Well, my grandma, late grandma, a great lady, she was named in honour of St. Patrick, so she was Patricia Kerr, may she rest in peace.
Yeah.
And she would often take me to St. Patrick's Church Hill, which is the oldest Catholic church in Australia, named in honour of St. Patrick, where I was very blessed to be earlier today.
Great.
For Mass on the feast, or the solemnity of St. Patrick.
That's a great fact to know, that's the oldest St. Patrick's Church in Australia.
That's right.
Dedicated.
But there are many who have aspired to be like St. Pat's
Yeah.
Church Hill, and I think currently there are probably about 100 churches in Australia dedicated to St. Patrick, which is a phenomenal number.
Wow. Over 100.
I would estimate about 100.
How many cathedrals?
Good question.
We were just speaking about that
There
before.
are actually 5 Catholic cathedrals dedicated in honour of St. Patrick. So obviously St. Patrick's Melbourne is the biggest. St. Pat's Parramatta, I think Toowoomba, Bunbury in Western Australia.
Yes.
There are
South.
all these people with huge dedication to St. Patrick. And I think mostly that's because St. Patrick was a man of great humility.
Yeah, he really was. He inspired me very much when I watched the movie of St. Patrick and how he converted Ireland. He tore down, the starting scene was him saving a woman from being sacrificed to the gods.
Wow.
And tearing down their altars. And it was a very inspiring movie. And, you know, we pray for Ireland today. I mean, there's great declining numbers of the faith there. So we pray for a restoration there.
Big
or a
time.
new Patrick.
Big time. For a return of that Irish Catholic zeal that once helped evangelise massive parts of the English-speaking world.
Yeah,
so,
especially Australia.
That's right, in America, which is actually where the St. Patrick's Day tradition and St. Patrick's Day parades probably gained a lot of their popularity, a lot of the, things like how in Chicago they dye the river green every year for St. Patrick's Day. Hope the fishes are okay.
I hope it's not toxic.
No, it's animal friendly, I've been told.
It's biodegradable.
Definitely. Yeah, it goes away pretty quickly. But yeah, it was actually there that it started to grow from the late 1700s, 1800s onwards.
So it's from America, of the whole
Well,
St.
that
Patrick's.
helped give it a shot in the arm and made it a lot more popular.
We should have a St. Patrick's Day parade here in Sydney.
We did.
We
And,
did?
You know, I think what happened was it can be quite expensive to host these outdoor parades, outdoor concerts. And one year, I believe, it was just terrible weather. Mm-hmm. And the St. Patrick's, whoever was sponsoring it, they booked an outdoor venue, but unfortunately people didn't buy tickets because it was a very wet day.
Yeah.
And things like that can really hold different organisations back. But yeah, we live in hope. And I guess one interesting thing, personal connection to me, even though I'm not very Irish, was one of my ancestors was transported to Australia from Ireland after fighting in the 1798 uprising. That was one of the big uprisings to try to liberate Ireland. And he's now buried, along with an ancestor, his wife Mary. So it's Michael Dwyer and Mary Dwyer. Mm-hmm. They're buried at Waverley Cemetery in what's now the biggest Celtic cross in the Southern Hemisphere, in honour of all the people who fought for a free Ireland.
Wow.
For the freedom to practice their faith and the freedom to have political representation. So that's another fun fact. And in the 1940s and 50s, they certainly used to have beautiful masses there on St. Patrick's Day in this cemetery. You can still visit. It's the largest monument in Waverley Cemetery, overlooking the water there. So highly recommend anyone who's able to visit Sydney to head on down to Waverley Cemetery and appreciate not just that history, but a lot of Australian history there.
Is it a St. Patrick's cemetery?
It's not. Waverley Cemetery's a very historic Australian cemetery.
Yeah.
And there's a really big Catholic section there.
Well, Parramatta does have a St. Patrick's cemetery where many of the parishioners of the then St. Patrick's parish were buried.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
that's another one for you. Another fact.
just another
fun
place
fact
in honour of
on
St.
Patrick's Day.
Pretty amazing.
Have you been to the pub yet?
No, I'll have to skip the pub today, but I'm sure soon I'll pay a visit and
have a drink for St. Pat.
Potentially. It's still Lent, so I might have missed the lucky mark to have a Guinness. Maybe next month. Maybe after Easter.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
But our topic today is, what are we talking about?
Well, George, you're embarrassing me and you're really honouring me as an old friend of mine, but I can't believe you've brought this copy of See Me, Street Poetry from the St Vincent de Paul Society, which is actually the first collection.
Do you want to hold it up to the camera?
How's that?
Have a look at that.
Beautiful.
It's a beautiful cover.
It was designed by the extremely talented Claire Hutchinson, who is also mentioned inside the book. She did an amazing job of Talbot Lane, which is actually a street next to Matthew Talbot Hostel, which is the oldest and largest men's hostel in Sydney for men who are needing emergency accommodation. So it's never looked this good. Great work, Claire. Thank you for your generosity there. And also to Megan, your team leader. But it was the first collection of poetry from in Australia from people who've experienced homelessness and similar forms of marginalisation. So, yeah, it was a labour of love, and it was quite a personal journey for me to work with some amazing writers who helped me a million times more than I helped them. And yeah, over years we worked together and shared some of their stories, shared some of their bravery, and most importantly, shared their incredible talent. So, yeah, just really great to bring it to fruition and share some of their faith as well. So, you know, we had plenty of time to respect people's faith. And I think there's something pretty authentic about the testimony, or even just the natural sort of everyday references to faith that people who have survived and admirably come out the other side of some of the worst experiences that happen in Australia today. So, yeah, amazing people. And
what inspired you to begin working?
It was initially
with the homeless, people who've experienced homelessness and struggles in life. And how did you translate that to poetry? I'm just interested
translates
about
a
the
good
background
word.
story.
Translates a good word because you're a little bit like the midwife. You know, you're not the father, you're not the mother, but you're there. You're there for the journey of people's writing.
Yeah.
And it all just it just unfolded really. So the St Vincent de Paul Society has an amazing service called the Ozanam Learning Centre in Woolloomooloo, next door to Matthew Talbot Hostel.
The Ozanam.
Ozanam.
How do you spell that?
Ozanam.
Okay.
Frederick Ozanam. He started the
Ozanam. Okay.
He started the St Vincent de Paul Society in Paris. He was actually a young, very passionate Catholic like yourself, George.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he was debating with people about the truth of the Catholic faith, and then he was challenged to put his love and charity into action, and that's very close to the heart of the Catholic Toolbox Show, because it's not enough just to be aware of something, but we want to do it. You want to put the time in to pray. You want to put the time in to share your charity and share yourself with others, you know. So he also became a professor of literature, which was his main work. He had many gifts and many things he did, but after starting St Vincent de Paul when he was only about 20 years old, he then continued working and was even a professor of literature at the Sorbonne. So I think that's very interesting.
Wow.
That the Ozanam Learning Centre, which provides hundreds of thousands of instances of service each year through community inclusion, art therapy, music, practical training courses and skills, all sorts of incredible practical as well as personal services to help people and accompany people and celebrate people who really deserve to be recognised and celebrated.
And they have art therapy. That stands out very much to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have several people that have benefited greatly from art therapy and all the other things there. But is there a website you can refer people to the Ozanam Learning Centre in Woolloomooloo?
In Woolloomooloo, absolutely. So the best way to find the Ozanam Learning Centre is
To Google it.
through vinnies.org.au/New South Wales, and then you can find the New South Wales services, and there are all sorts of programs, things with support groups to tackle different personal challenges like hoarding. Eat the Elephant is quite a popular one to help people overcome hoarding. For people who hear voices or hear unwanted voices, that's a huge part of the experience of people at the margins of Australian society.
Yeah.
So, and then there wasn't a poetry group or a creative writing group, and I thought, why don't we have a creative writing group? And essentially, we'd start off with a classic poem each week, and that was sort of inspiration to help people, learning from the greats before us. And
did you found this poetry and creative writing group?
That's right. That's right.
But so you founded the creative writing group.
Yes,
at the Ozanam.
But it wouldn't have been the first literature group they've ever had. There was a program in the 90s called Books with Barry. Professor Barry Spur, a retired professor of literature, he did amazing work coming from Sydney Uni, and then talking about great literature with people, who life has treated in a very rough way. So, but for me, it was very rewarding, very enjoyable. Many of them wanted to be published. Opportunities are scarce to be published. And what we're able to do was we got some support from our very generous friends at the City of Sydney, who gave us a quick round grant, and also the Awesome Foundation, another lovely charity, who provided us with some
sponsors here,
with some funding.
If you take a look,
and it wouldn't have happened without them, really. So big thanks go out to all the good folks at those places. I should also add another connection to St. Patrick. So the first St. Vincent de Paul Society conference in New South Wales started at St. Pat's Church Hill in the Rocks.
Wow,
So,
in the courtyard area.
That's right, the crypt. They would have met in the crypt.
But they
100%.
call the crypt now.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting fact.
Yeah.
And what year was that?
You're testing me now. I want to say about 1880, something like that.
Okay, yeah. First St. Vincent de Paul Society meeting.
In New South Wales.
Of the society.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so I feel, there are a few interesting facts and connections between St. Patrick's Day and our gathering tonight. I must say, George, I was so impressed by how great you and a few other friends were on the night of the book launch, where we went to Glebe Books in Glebe, and we had, a wonderful night of celebration, and the contributors who were able to make it were electrified by the wonderful warmth and reception of a standing room only book launch space. But it was great friends like yourself, George, who actually went up to people individually and asked for these writers to sign their autograph, So if you can think from the writer's perspective, this was just, they felt so special, as they deserve to. I'd put it akin to being maybe like you're playing rugby and your team has won the grand final. Yeah. And now you're having the grand final dinner. So it was a night of similar great spirits and great celebration. So
what really stuck out to me was the poem here on page 27 from Stephen, and he says, "Hey George, thanks for reading," and a signature there. Something simple, but a nice sentimental acknowledgement of
Well, let's...
of me taking the time to read his poem, and then on the night, and I had him.
That's right. And those who are able to make it were reading out some of their works. So, yeah, Steve is a phenomenal bloke. And why don't we read
Of course.
his poem now? And I'm sure Steve wouldn't mind, because I'm acknowledging him as his wonderful work. I'll let it speak for itself, and then maybe add some of my thoughts.
Read away.
Displacement. The long road I've travelled, so many miles I've sinned. I don't know where I'm going, or where's a finish to begin. I know what love is. I know green shoots grow from rain. And whenever I'm bewildered, I don't run from the pain. Instead, I close my eyes, and in the appalling cold, I think about God's beauty. Then my heart grows bold. I can see the dewy leaves, the animals at play. If the road goes nowhere, I'm still thankful for today. My greatest plans and schemes don't concern the road, for she was here before me. Along her I shall go.
Wow.
And so Stephen has this incredible understated style. He sort of came out of the nowhere, you know, and as he would first read some of his writing that he'd create in the group, it wasn't quite the full impact, but then you would reread the words he'd written and they would just hit you.
What stands out to me particularly is that he thinks about God's beauty, then his heart grows bold.
I think
that's beautiful.
I think that's pretty powerful, far out, you know.
His heart grows bold. So it's in a sense he gains grace and the strength to become bold and confident. His heart grows bold.
Big time. I think that's a humbling moment. You know, you and I, we've had a lot given to us in terms of faith, you know, and to hear someone like Stephen talking about being in the freezing cold, being inspired by God in that moment. It's not even begging for God's help. Mm-hmm. He's in awe of God's beauty, even at that moment. Yeah, it's pretty breathtaking, and I think he's a great writer. Like so many of the 16 contributors to the...
So there's a total of 16 contributors. You have your introduction here that you wrote, and all the hard work that you've put in to facilitating them, and
I don't want to talk about the hard work too much.
Yeah, but we need to talk about your work. We need to acknowledge... what role did you play in facilitating these poems to come to life in the literature group?
Yeah. Well, I guess anyone, maybe the only people who can really empathise with the work of editing is fellow editors, I think. People putting together publications, and I mean, you could understand, George, because you're a writer, and I have some of your books, and yeah, it's not just click and flick like an email, or you know, set and forget. It's quite a process of discernment, of support for the individual pieces, support for the writers. There's a whole framework and legal, financial, practical structure that goes into all of this.
Yeah.
And yeah, quite a few hours. Well, yeah, many slightly lonely hours of editing and working on the publication. So I must say I didn't find putting the publication together super enjoyable, but I did
Who
find
does?
I found working with the writers extremely rewarding. Yeah.
And so the total of 16 writers.
And about 40 poems.
Should we have a look at another poem that
Absolutely.
sticks out?
Here's
Here's another one with Scarlett.
Yeah. Scarlett.
She says, George, thank you for buying our book. Scarlett.
Yes. And I also say thank you for buying the book. All proceeds support the St Vincent de Paul Society. But yes, so Scarlett wrote, one of her many pieces is A Sky Clear as Glass. A sky clear as glass, the pale blue of morning light. The crisp air has no ceiling, like the heavens have met the earth and coated it in a blanket of snow that soothes the world with silence.
Wow.
I see reminiscences of Robert Frost in this, and Scarlett just had this incredible ability to paint an image very elegantly, beautifully, simply. And Scarlett's writing style has a few different aspects to it. So she has quite a bit of range for a writer, great technical prowess in some of her pieces, but she can also really create a narrative and, as in A Sky Clear as Glass, draw you into this image very beautifully, which is something that quite a few of the writers were able to do as well.
The crisp air has no ceiling.
It's a great sense of freedom. And it's a
And
run-on.
outdoors.
It is,
Yeah.
and it's a run-on sentence there. But each clause just adds another layer, another layer of freedom in quite a short poem.
Wow.
But an accomplished little poem. Good things come in small packages.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's
Yeah.
great to see everybody here, the contributors. Some have a lot to say, some have less to say. It just shows the diversity of people, people's outlook,
Yeah.
and the way they express themselves.
Big time. And there are a lot of people to thank, such as the 16 contributors, first and foremost. I'm just looking at the contributors section.
At the back.
And even reading their names.
A little bit of a summary about who they are.
Yeah, I think it's important that each one had a bio. And I think, I find it a little bit moving just to see even all their names together. And for some of them, it's the first time they've had a nice bio put together that actually really honours them, Some of them have nom de plumes or writing names. Some of them put themselves out there in quite a very, very vulnerable and sort of raw way. And if they have a particularly unique name, then some of them have a pen name, just to give them a bit of freedom. I've worked in advising people and organisations on their reputations and their public personas. So I thought that was a really common sense and flexible way of protecting people, and but also, if it was a pen name, it was a special pen name.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a silly pen name. And as is the situation with people on a journey towards home, well, some of them are at different stages of that journey towards stability, security, and connection. Some are really at the start of that journey.
Okay, so
Some
they
were-
were at different stages.
Some were pretty secure
Yeah.
already and might have been working on the connection side, you know, in terms of exploring their passions and what is really rewarding for them. But some of them we did lose touch with, really sadly, including some of the great, some wonderful writers, you know. And I might read one from LP, who we did lose touch with, but this person had a lot of faith, and you know, it was just a phenomenal person.
But first we'll take our break.
We will.
And we will be back.
That'd be great.
And we'll go through the book. So don't forget, stay tuned. We'll be back here shortly. And welcome back to another week on the Catholic Toolbox. I'm your host and founder, George Manassa. We are continuing our episode here. My good friend, Jordan Grantham. We had a great discussion, and I'm really excited to go into the next poem and of the works here today. But before we continue, I want to speak a little bit about the St. Vincent de Paul Society here. And I know you have something to say about the importance of the society and why we should actually join as Australians here. Now, I don't know if you want to say something about its international presence and our international listeners, how they can actually join as well.
No, great point. The society is global, so there are probably over 1 million members and volunteers of the St. Vincent de Paul Society around the world. It's a beautiful global presence.
Yeah.
And it helps something like 30 million people around the world each year through some of its bigger projects and services. And I think the beauty of getting involved with something like the St. Vincent de Paul Society is what you do has a multiplier effect. You know, you see it with many great charities and great works and around anywhere in the church and in Australia, where your power isn't just 1 + 1 or 3 + 3. It's 3 × 3, or it's 3 × 3 × 3. You know, once people are able to work in unity and harmony together, it becomes musical almost, the magnitude of the good work you're able to do. The oldest form of volunteering within the St Vincent de Paul Society is as a member. So you join your parish-based group. I'm very blessed to be a member of St Bridget's Parish, Marrickville. Shout out to my fellow members there. And
so it's a parish-based membership.
Yeah,
wow. I thought it was region-based, but it's great to know that the society attaches itself to individual parishes in different dioceses.
Massively.
That's amazing. Yeah.
The parishes...
Very localised.
Oh, yeah. And the parishes are some of our best and most loyal friends and supporters. So thank you to those parish communities and the clergy who've supported and encouraged us. And once you meet at your local parish, I mean, there are some conferences that might just do gardening, for example, and that's great as well. But the normal type of parish conference is you have a meeting, you say a few prayers, and then you head out to people and their families and try to provide immediate assistance, travelling 2 by 2. And that is just so rewarding. And it makes so much of the things we talk about in society, hearing about Aboriginal families in need, or hearing about domestic family violence, hearing about people who die on their own and they're only discovered later because, you know, it's not for weeks that
Nobody's
that
asked about them all. It's very sad when you hear stories like that.
And for me, these were just distant stories until I became a member of the St Vincent de Paul Society, because I actually know people now and care about people who've had exactly these situations or been right next to these sort of, trying to help in these situations. So
your contribution is going out to people directly that need help, or do they reach out to the society directly for help?
Definitely. So it's quite organised now, and you know, so our wonderful Vinnie's op shops provide the majority of our funding, plus generous members of the community, and we then have these centralised Vinnie's support centres which receive the calls, sort of like through a central line that then goes out to a local place, and then those Vinnie's support centres let the parish-based conferences and conference members know, hey, you've got 12 families to visit, or 12 households to visit. Within your
parochial area.
Within your zone.
Within the zone of the parish.
And that might be bringing
Beautiful.
Yeah. And
so it's kept parochially
parochial, or
centred.
You might have a number of parishes you need to cover if your neighbouring parish doesn't have a conference at the moment.
Wow.
So... yeah, we'll normally bring, you know, Woolies vouchers, Kmart vouchers, bills assistance, and then we can make referrals as well. And the conference can also make judgments about other forms of assistance where, you know, might be funerals, it might be caring for pets, you know, because people who've experienced some isolation, their pets can be a very important part of their family to them, you know.
And so that involves going out, meeting with them, maybe having a drink with them and meeting these families.
Yeah, we might have a cup of tea, potentially.
And speak to them and see where they're at. And then you'd report back to the command centre.
To the Vinnie's Support Centre, to the command.
Sorry, I'm thinking militarily.
The command centre. Well,
you are also a member.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, I'm very pleased
Yeah.
to also be a reservist in the Australian Army.
Yeah.
So yeah,
militarily, but
it's great thing to do.
But they report back, and then they make an assessment as to what they need.
And they might be able to have things to provide, like they might have furniture. We provide a lot of furniture, a lot of mattresses, things that people need. People might be given social or government housing, but they might not be given any furniture. So,
wow.
So, people need to have a dignified life.
Yeah.
Not just have bricks and carpet.
Are these furnitures coming from the Vinnie stores and warehouses, probably?
It might be a mix, but largely for furniture, it's a centralised...
Yeah.
We have an amazing St. Joseph's workshop in Gosford.
Oh, wow.
You might be fascinated to check that out. And we also have logistics and distribution centres that do a great job of getting these essential furniture and supplies out to people if they need them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's beautiful work. It's great to know for our listeners especially, and for myself, how it practically works. And so you encourage everybody to join, listening in Sydney, in Australia, to join the St.
Anywhere in
Vincent
the world.
Society.
If you're in the
Does
Philippines...
it cost anything? Is there any commitment?
If you're in Lebanon, as far as I know, it's a great deal because it's free, but the benefits are eternal. There's no limit on the benefits. You get extra prayers said for you. All the other members pray for the other members. And you meet great people, some really good friends of mine through the society, Smithsville Society. And the work is its own reward. It's people should find it rewarding and fun in a way to say prayers together, go out and help people, and it's a good thing. I mean, one thing that's really emotional fireworks are the Christmas hampers. So Christmas time, a lot of Catholic primary schools and other primary schools put together hampers. You probably did this growing up as well, George.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
I certainly did.
Yeah.
And we're not quite sure as little kids where this is going. We're probably quite sheltered as little children.
Yeah. Or you're wondering who is it going to?
Big time.
Yeah. You think it's making an impact in someone's family.
We get to deliver them. And, sometimes they're people...
Oh, that's great.
That's great. And it's
you get to deliver them.
We do. It's a privilege.
Wow.
And it's good to see your fellow members sweat a little bit. Like they're a bit under pressure to get them together, to get them out in time. But they make it happen because they care about it. And they should care about it because it's important work. And I must say, especially when they go to families where maybe this is the first time something's gone wrong for them financially and unexpectedly, and they're wondering for the first time, how am I going to put food and toys on the table this Christmas? When they receive that hamper,
wow,
makes you want to come back and help next year, because you can see how good it is. There are many charities doing great work. So
the Salvation Army is another
Salvos, love them.
Yeah.
Maronites on Mission.
The Order of Malta as well.
Order of Malta.
Does some great work.
Absolutely, which you are involved with, George, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
With the vans.
The van work, yeah.
The vans.
It's very rewarding, helping the homeless.
And I'd encourage anyone to give a special moment of thought to joining the St. Vincent de Paul Society, because I think there is something special about its spirit, its structure, that's just quite simple, but it's because of the simplicity of that membership model, it means it's been able to spread around the world and continue for
so it's
hundreds
worldwide,
of years.
and people can, for those listening in for the United States or Europe, they can find the equivalent website for each of their individual countries and join online through the website.
in Latin America, very strong.
In Lebanon,
in Europe.
they probably have a presence. Europe,
Europe, absolutely.
other Middle Eastern countries. I'm sure they have a lot of
In
work
the
on their
Pacific
hands.
as
The
well.
Pacific, yeah.
Yeah, no. So I think there's something very special about its spirit.
But do join the society.
Yeah,
It is very important.
please do.
I'm now going to consider joining the society as well.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah,
yeah.
You're convincing me.
Great.
But let's get into one of the
Oh,
other
yeah.
poems
Okay.
that you want to discuss.
We're spoilt for choice, George. A rich, an embarrassment of riches here.
And after we finish, we're going to speak about where you can get a copy of the book. It's available everywhere. But let's
Absolutely.
read from the
Absolutely.
next poem of choice. And
Well, the title poem is called See Me by a great writer called Mike. I won't read that one because Mike has already... I might find one where a writer wasn't able to make it to the launch or similar events. Here's an interesting one. It's a little bit different, sort of a story poem, but very rich in its vocabulary, which you'll get to discover in just a moment. So it's called The Strawberry Crockpot Home of Mrs. Ratterugette. It's written by Amita Patel. Mrs. Ratterugette lived in an abandoned strawberry pot planter. It was a quaint home, replete with a fireside and a chimney. She adored making snake candy using natural ingredients. The flowers gave the candies colours, and the berries gave them flavours. Bilberry, blueberry, boysenberry, cranberry, loganberry, mulberry, whortleberry, blaeberry, gooseberry, strawberry, blackberry, naseberry sapodilla, Chinese gooseberry. So it's pretty playful, pretty joyful.
yeah.
It's very evocative, very colourful.
Yeah.
And I think, poetry doesn't have to always... Modern poetry can be quite dour and serious and sometimes despairing and dark. But I think there's more to life than just these depressing, slightly depressing style of poetry.
Yeah.
And one thing a friend commented to me was they were surprised that such beauty and joy can be found in the hearts of people who we normally associate with the worst forms of sadness and hardship. And I think that's a really important message. And it's a message relevant to St. Patrick and today, because terrible things can happen to you.
Life happens.
Life will be full of many crosses, especially towards the end for all of us. Crosses and losses. But, the gift of joy and the gift of faith can be there with us at all moments and shine this beauty onto ordinary experiences. I think that's a special thing. And not all of the writers are people of like a very clear or very defined faith, but I'd say, about 25% of the poems would have some very clear Christian faith in them. And some of the lines I've even used in some of my own prayer, where there's a bit of a rhyme, and just in your day-to-day, if something's annoying you or struggling with something, some of those lines pop into your
Poetry,
head.
we can express ourselves. It can have a spiritual dimension where in our prayer it can become poetry, and we'll discuss that shortly.
Yeah, well, should we
In our
hop into
practical
that
tools.
in our practical tools? Well, shall I read one more?
Read one more.
One
yeah.
more, and then this
There's
one's...
so much to read here.
I know, we could be here all night. But for those who do get the book, I recommend reading it from cover to cover.
Yeah.
Because together it makes a very powerful impression. And they are very purposefully arranged. Not simplistically, but there's quite a meaningful and substantial narrative in there. And a lot of humour as well. Great descriptions of the Australian landscape, depictions of mental health, depictions of love of pets even. But let's go to one that's quite, has a few saints in it for our lovely listeners. It's called Virtuous by LP. It was St. Vincent de Paul's charity. It was St. Thomas More's clarity. Brave and bold was St. Paul. His faith opened a prison door, inspired by the grace of God. Courageous and fearless was St. Peter. Near Jesus on the sea, he came within a metre. Till death for the Lord, thought St. Stephen. When rocks were thrown, no thoughts of getting even, inspired by the love of Christ. Mercy and forgiveness begged the thief on the cross. In Jesus his soul would not come to loss. St. Vincent de Paul believed in helping the poor. Place God before King did St. Thomas More, inspired by the wisdom of the Holy Spirit.
That is a powerful poem.
Absolutely.
Very powerful.
And I thought LP had a great gift for combining emotional depth and sincerity with very approachable, almost folksy, everyday language.
Yeah.
You know? So if LP's listening to this, great respect and best wishes to him.
What a beautiful poem.
Big time. Big time.
But let's speak about where our listeners can get a copy of this. So the title is Street Poetry from...
See Me.
Sorry, See Me.
It's called See Me. See Me. So
See Me.
trying to see people for who they truly are.
Yep.
Sometimes seeing them for the first time. And the subtitle is Street Poetry from the St. Vincent de Paul Society. So it's quite, it's street in that it's contemporary. And there's that play on words as well in terms of having experienced hardship and survived major challenges. Local libraries have been incredibly supportive of the project. So I'm really pleased that it's in over 50 local libraries across Australia.
Wow.
So that said, you know, it's not everywhere. So you can get it from independent bookshops such as Readings in Melbourne, Glee Books in Sydney,
Yeah.
Booktopia online.
So people can buy it online, for those listening. You can go to Booktopia and type in See Me.
Street Poetry.
From the St. Vincent de Paul Society, and you can
find it.
purchase a copy. So go to Booktopia, or people can simply Google this as well, and it should come up on Booktopia for them
Big
to
time.
purchase. Yeah.
Big time.
Edited by Jordan Grantham.
That's right. It's
Yes.
my privilege.
So please do get a copy. It's such a beautiful book. It's very inspiring, and they're short, and it's simple to read, but it's rich. Has a noble simplicity, and you know I'm grateful to have got my copy and been there on the evening and to met some of the poets. But let's speak about some 3 practical tools.
Yes. For
As
Catholic
Catholics,
Toolbox.
we don't live without practical tools.
How can we
take action
Let's do it.
and learn from these wonderful poets and yourself?
Thank you, George. Well, first practical tip is just to try to have awareness of the beauty that's around you in all of our lives. And beauty is one of the properties of God, you know. So that will bring you closer to Him just by having that awareness and trying to see God in the everyday things around us. The second tip is join the St. Vincent de Paul Society.
Yes.
You will not regret that. You'll get a lot out of it.
And it's free.
It's free and the rewards are limitless.
Wow.
And the third tip is buy the book.
Get a copy of this book. This is a beautiful book. I think this book is a practical tool in and of itself.
Big time.
And what you've done is absolutely amazing, and I commend you for this, for convening together. And we have to really acknowledge all the different contributors.
All our wonderful
16
colleagues at the St Vincent de Paul Society as well. Everyone at the Ozanam Learning Centre, the wonderful staff and volunteers there. And you can, recognise their work by getting a copy.
And to yourself for convening everyone, and it's been edited by you to bring this to life for many of us to put in our hand and to read and to learn.
Thank you for taking action,
lessons.
George. And all the contributors took action and created something beautiful. And so now we call on the beautiful listeners to also do a good deed on top of the many good things you're already doing. So
I mean, it's beautiful that they were in such very difficult places, you know, in many instances, homelessness, and they took action.
Absolutely.
They took action.
Absolutely.
Something we can learn from.
If they can do it, everyone can do it.
Everyone can
do it.
With a
bit of encouragement and a bit of joy as well.
So, join the St Vincent de Paul Society. It's free, hopefully, or I think
it's 100% free.
At least in Australia.
Free.
Yeah, at least in Australia. But
sure.
Join the society and get a copy of this book. See me on booktopia.com.au, all the bookstores that we've mentioned, and take action in this area, and let's work on our corporal works of mercy in this area and spiritual life from learning from this.
Finish Lent strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being with me here tonight, Jordan. It's been an absolute pleasure.
George, likewise.
Thank you very much. And thank you for tuning into the show. I'm your host and founder, George Manassa. Don't forget to go to thecatholictoolboxshow.com. That is thecatholictoolboxshow.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Until next week, God bless, take care, and take action.
In this era of grave spiritual crisis, it is not enough to simply know about your Catholic faith. That is why we need a Catholic Toolbox to equip us with the practical skills necessary to live our Catholic faith to reach our ultimate goal, which is heaven for all eternity. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. for the Catholic Toolbox as we hand you the tools to go forth, live the faith, and change our modern world today. Live on the Voice of Charity.